This video, I am going to work primarily on what we'll call core, but it's really spinal strength and flexibility. So let's get started on the floor. So you just need a mat. Yeah, and that's about it. You don't really need anything else. So I'm going to start on all fours. So one thing you could have is like a pillow or a towel under your knees, if that feels better. But you're going to start in all fours. And keep the belly in. Hands underneath the shoulders. So try not to lean back, but hands are directly underneath your shoulders. Knees are directly underneath your hips, and keep your feet relaxed behind you. So if we come this way, I'm going to keep a neutral back, meaning I'm not going to arch it and I'm not going to drop it. I'm just going to keep it nice and neutral in the middle. Okay, and we're going to start though by trying to work through the natural flexion and extension of your back. If you think about it, try and imagine each vertebrae in your spine, and as we flex and extend, try to do so each vertebrae at a time. It may not actually happen that way because of flexibility issues or how our spines are over time, but the more you can imagine that, the more you can just create a little bit more flexibility in your spine. So go ahead and start by pulling the abs in, tucking the hips, and then starting to open up the shoulders, and then go the other way. The head, the neck, the upper back, and the spine. Pull it in. And push it down. So in yoga, this is cat and cow. Now hopefully you can see, or you're paying attention, that I am not trying to lean forward or lean back when I do this. I start with that neutral spine, and then I keep it all in my spine and out of my arms and my legs. So all in my spine, arch it up. And cow, push the belly and everything down. Arch it up. Let's do 3 more. Arch it, like you're being pulled away from the floor, and then like someone can put a heavy object on your spine. 2 more. And last one. Breathe in. And exhale. Good. You can stretch this back, dropping your hips down to your heels, and then reaching your arms out in front of you. So called child's pose, the real purpose of it, they use it, in yoga it's used many times to like relax, but in productive like functional life, what happens is the weight in your hips gets pulled back towards your heels, and as you extend your arms and your shoulders and everything forward, there is a self-traction going on and a lengthening of your spine. So hopefully you can start to feel your lower back extending out of the hips and just getting a little bit longer through there. And if you notice, my hips started to come up, and that's okay as long as we're pushing the hips back. They don't have to touch the heels. In fact, for sometimes our hips are so high up, you're like, well, they're never touching my heels, and if they are, call 911. But the very act of driving the hips back yourself and reaching the arms forward is going to create that traction. And then come all the way back up into all fours. And then we're going to start with what we call not cat and cow, bird dog. Now I will also be doing this on the floor later, but this is a nice one for balance and for core stabilization. So I'm afraid sometimes people go right down to the floor because it's easier. And if we want, we will focus on that a little bit later so that we can really work through the spine strength. But right now I'm going to focus on stabilization of my core. So right now, knees underneath my hips, hands underneath my shoulders, and I'm going to start by lifting my right leg up. Okay, my knees stayed right where it is, my hand stayed right where it is, and I'll pull it down. I'm not going to put it back in the center because that would be easier. I'm going to put it right back where I had it before, and it looks like a big rectangle if I drew a line from hand to hand, knee to knee, and connected it. So now the left leg, and then down, and alternate, right and left. Okay, belly button in toward the spine. You don't have to suck your belly in, but we're bracing like your own personal girdle. And then I can start by adding the opposite arm. Now if you find that this is wobbly, then go from the legs and then start just one arm at a time. And from that progression, I could take arm, I could take leg, pull it down. Arm, leg, pull it down. My head is staying neutral unless I'm turning to face the camera, but you don't want to tuck your chin. You just want to look kind of right between your hands below you, as if there was like a book or something right between your hands. Make sure you're breathing, getting that full extension. Good. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then once again, drive the hips back, extend the arms, and get that traction. Now we started with 2 spinal warm-ups that could be done before pretty much any exercise we ever do or any workout. Now we're going to do some that really work through the flexibility of the lower spine, the lumbar spine. I'm going to do this all fours. I'm going to place my hand on my head. And then whatever way I can, I'm just going to take that elbow and look sideways. Pull my belly button in, and then bring it down. Take it out, and lower. So keep going. We're going to keep that spine in neutral again. So just like we started before, all fours or neutral spine, and see if you can start maybe even getting a little bit more rotation. And you can even pull that elbow toward the other arm. Rotate up. Breathe. There. Let's do 3 more. then hands come back, and then we do the other side. Now you might notice a difference in either side. Just make a mental note of that. Obviously there are no right or wrong answers, but our lifestyle, our years, what we've done, it shows up in our bodies. So once again, that elbow is out. We're going to start by just looking underneath and bringing it back. And looking underneath. And each time, maybe seeing if we just get just a little bit more. Slow, methodical. Three more. And two. And one. And then back to all fours, and once again, child's pose. Okay. And come all the way up to all fours. And this is another one I borrowed from yoga. And I'll be honest, sometimes you do some of these and you're like, okay, that feels weird, and sometimes they feel super good. So I'll introduce some, and some days might feel better than others. But we're going to take it from all fours, come forward, and then come around in a circle. So like you're drawing a circle with your hips. Now we came back in child's pose, so maybe you go down as low as child's pose. Maybe try and slow it down and see if you can get some depth. And we've got 3. Two. And 1, hold it back and reverse. Because we always have like a little different feeling regardless of, or whichever way we go. Sometimes it feels better one way and you reverse it and you're like, whoa, that feels weird. There's going to be a couple more we're going to do on all fours before we come to the ground. All right, and 2, and 1. All fours, child's pose. Now, I don't know if you saw, but my legs started to separate a little bit. It helped me get like a little bit better of a base. And you can do that in child's pose. You might find the hips go down just a little bit more if you do that. Good. And then we're back up. And the last ones we're going to do, in all fours I think, is we're going to take that little twist we just did, but this time reach the arm up and then bring it down underneath. We call it thread the needle. And then if you can, start to place your head down and then hold it here for a moment. Then you can extend your other arm out. You can try to drop the hips back. You just hang here. Take another good deep breath. Bring that hand to the other hand to support you as you take the needle out from the thread, come to all fours, and the other arm sweeps up, and then this gentle momentum underneath your other arm, threading the needle, placing the cheek down, your shoulder as much as you can. And once again, just hanging here for a moment, maybe 3 to 5 big deep breaths. And then once again, that arm is support. Come back to all fours. And we are going to take those knees back, come into plank, and then bring yourself down to the ground. So we're going to do some stretches down here. Hands are underneath your chest, right by your armpit. Feet are together as if someone has duct taped your feet. And then your legs are going to press the floor. The tops of your feet and your thighs are going to press against the floor. Squeeze your butt a little bit, pull the belly button in, and then just come up into a little lift. For 3. Now if I took my hands away, I should still be able to lift my upper body, right? 3, 2, and lower. Let's do it again. Pull the belly button in, squeeze the butt, press the feet in, and with the strength of your back, lift yourself up. Light on the hands. Excuse me, dust on the floor. Yikes. There we go. And bring the shoulder blades down. Squeeze the shoulders together. 4, 3, 2, lower. Let's do 3 more. Breath in, everything in, lift. Light on the hands, shoulders down for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now, sometimes when people do this, they start to lift their legs up. We are going to do that later, but that's not part of this movement. Feet on the floor. Tops of your feet touch the floor. Belly button in, squeeze the butt, up we go, and hold for 4, 3, 2, last one. And then here we go. Squeeze everything together, press the feet in. Here's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now one thing I did in between, you may have seen or not even paid attention to, was I placed one cheek on the floor. And get into that kind of practice when we're working the lower back. As we get older, our necks stiffen, our spine stiffens, and one way you can kind of get a little bit more flexion or more mobility back in your neck, since we stopped looking behind us because we have cameras now instead of having to turn our head, is to lay down on your tummy and then put your face, your cheek, to the floor and just breathe. So here is a great cervical spine stretch. And I don't have to do a thing but relax. Now you might find that sometimes you can't even get your ear on the floor. The neck is so stiff that you're barely getting the cheek and maybe some of your nose. And that's okay. Do what you can do. And then slowly bring it back to neutral. And go ahead and do the other side. Now for me, there is a noticeable difference between sides. Pay attention to those differences. And maybe you just hold it a little longer on the side that's stiffer. Or you do it an extra time. Alright. Bring the head back into neutral. And we're going to keep our arms to our side. The head is in neutral. And this time, without our arms underneath us to support us, we're going to do what we just did a moment ago. Feet stay on the floor, legs stay on the floor, but this time our arms are behind us, and we're going to breathe in and look forward and then reach our arms back behind us. We just did this a moment ago. Okay. Move those arms out like you're going to fly. Bring them back in, and then cheek to the ground. Take a breath. Head to neutral. Engage your lower body to support you and anchor you down. Lift. Make sure you're pulling your belly in, because try it now and just let your belly hang. It will, because the floor is supporting it. Pull your belly in. Pull your hips together, like squeeze your butt together. Raise yourself up, shoulders back. Bring those arms and back and down. 3 more. Head in neutral. Engage. Feet together. So don't have the feet apart. Feet together like they're duct taped. Bring yourself up. Open your arms like you're flying. And release. Breathe in, pull the belly button in, extend, open, and release. 1 more. And then let's do this. Once again, feet together, everything together, open, and release. So if you need to, go ahead and press all the way up into all fours. Give the back just a slow, gentle release. And then we're going to do a little bit more. So we're going to add on. In this case, in the last one, we had the feet anchored against the floor. In this next set, we're going to lift everything. So back down, belly down. Arms can come out like airplane wings. Feet are still going to be together. Inner thighs pressed together, knees pressed together. And then take a breath in, pull the belly in, and lift your arms and legs up. And hold. For 4. 3, keep breathing. 2, lift the thighs and lower. And then once again, arms and legs engaged, belly button in, and lift like you're floating on the air for 4. See if you can lift the thighs. 3, open up the chest. 2, and 1. Let's do that again. Belly in, feet together, thighs together, arms up, and float. So if you do this right, if you engage through your spine, your core, you can feel like you're floating above the air for 3, 2, and 1. Let's do 2 more. Ready and fly. Float. Maybe this time extend the legs out away from each other and open up like a star and down. And then 1 more. Start with the feet together. Pull everything in toward your center and then open, and then let the legs out. Extend the arms out like you are a superstar for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Stretch back. Nice and slow. All the way back. We're going to keep this fairly short because if you do too much with the spine all at once, I promise you're probably going to be sore tomorrow, or at least it might be uncomfortable. So I just want, especially if it's one of the first time you've done it, or if you tend to have a lower back that's a bit anxious, a bit twingy, then keep sessions like this short and sweet. Maybe add pieces of this to other workouts and other, to anytime you move, to just keep some of that mobility ongoing. So let's do one more thing. We're going to do that bird dog we did earlier, but on the floor. So earlier we did it more for that balance piece and stabilization of the hips and spine. Now we're doing it for strength. So if I wanted to, I could grab like a 1, 2, 3 pound weight and I put it in my arms or my hands. So my hands extended, my legs extended. Right arm, left leg, and up and lower. Left arm, right leg, and lower. Both arm and leg lift and down. Head stays neutral. When you breathe in, they lift up and hold, exhale down. And not really holding your breath, but that deep inhale, exhale down, deep inhale, exhale down. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Once again, hands underneath. Push yourself up into all fours. And then here's a nice one. Curl the toes under, stretch back for a moment. Into a nice downward dog. Start to walk your feet to your hands. Soften the knees as much as you need to. Pull your belly towards your thighs like you're folding yourself in half. And let your head, the weight of your head, hang down, kind of like a bowling ball on the end of a string, because that's what it about weighs as much as. Let the arms maybe swing side to side. Come out of the back, let yourself hang. And then hands to the shins, start to walk your way up, slowly, carefully. I know. Great job. Have an awesome day.